This is episode 155 of the Break 80 podcast. Stouds here, joined by the usuals, Mike and Tim, with one of the biggest sporting events in the world about to take place this week. How excited are you two on a level from 1 to 10? 1, Coma State, 10, gonna pee your pants.
Well, I haven't been drinking all night, so I don't think we'll pee our pants, but let's go 9 then. We're jacked. It's the right. Listen, obviously majors are maybe better for certain things, but this is match play. We love match play. You don't get to see it anymore because they got rid of the WGC. It's going to be in New York. It's going to be bonkers on a golf course that, we want to watch. This is setting up to be an epic Ryder Cup. The only thing we need is a close finish. We haven't had one of those in a while.
9, really? Come on. It's not the Masters. It's not the Open.
Yeah, it's better than all of them.
It's not the U.S. Open. It's just a team competition. Granted, it's the best one by far, but a 9? I think it's a 7.5 right now. We gotta let this build. When we see the pairings get released, I think we'll either be more or less excited. Go either way on those.
I like it. I like watching it better than the majors because it's match play. I like the majors too, obviously, but I like it. And on TV, it's great. When you go there live, like we've been, I don't know if you guys went to the Ryder Cup at Hazeltine when it was here, but when you go live, obviously when it comes back, we'll go. But it's not as great of a viewing experience because there's so few golfers on the course and so many people. You have to basically go sit forever and just wait. It's still awesome. It's unique. It's cool, but on TV, when you just get to keep watching all these matches, and as match play kicks ass, just does.
It's the showmanship. It's the teammates doing certain back in the day when that Kuchar and his partner were doing the Will Smith and God, I can't remember what the
which is wild because can we think of any less cool guy on tour than Matt Kuchar?
I know, but I don't know why that came to my mind, but. But Bryson Rip and driver and just pulling the putter on the tee box. I mean, even JT and Tiger had their little thing that they like to do. To me, it's the showmanship. It's the crowd that doesn't have to sit there and be proper, right? The crowd doesn't have to be proper. You can make a little bit of noise. You can kind of get at. It's got shades of the Waste Management in some ways. In terms of rowdiness that it can bring, but it's a step above. It's a step above in a different way.
And it's every 2 years. You don't get to watch it. We never get to see match play. And what I love about it is, even if you're in Italy, the U.S. probably wasn't going to win going into singles. But you're always sitting there looking at the board God, if we win this one, if we get that one, if we can just do this, we can finagle one here, we can maybe squeak this out. You're always looking at the board trying to figure things out. It's awesome. Whereas the other ones are great, the other majors are cool, but this is so unique, and match play puts it over the top for me. It's the purest form of golf, the way the game was meant to be played. It was invented as a match play sport. This is how it's supposed to be.
Well,
I will say this one in particular too. At Bethpage Black, everyone who's a golf fan from their later 20s into their 40s who's played Tiger Woods' video game knows this golf course like the back of their hand. And there's just something special about knowing the venue so intimately. I mean, it's only the Masters probably, or Pebble Beach, that fans know the place better. So we actually know what's coming up. I remember back to both Rome and France not knowing much anything about the course, at least not in the detail that we know about Bethpage. So I think it's going to feel a lot more familiar for us viewers at home that is really going to make it special.
And it's this is the Ryder Cup that has been hyped up forever. They announced it was going to be 2024, but then COVID pushed it back. They announced it. I saw today a tweet or X or whatever they call it now from Keegan in 2013 saying the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black is going to be on fire. Everybody's been talking about this specific one in New York City for a decade now, and here it's finally here.
Well, Mike, first of all, I got to tell you, we did have a chance until Ricky Fowler faded one right into the water in Italy. We had a chance. There was more than a sliver of hope. We couldn't have Ricky do that.
Was that when Captain Zach called him off the club? No, that was the difference.
I thought that was JT. He called JT off. It's here, Spieth or someone.
I got deep dives here coming up in this episode of why the Euros and Luke Donald are playing chess, and Zach Johnson was playing checkers, and we got to figure this out this time.
And we're gonna get to a lot of Ryder Cup talk. We've already started. It's hard to not to. But I wanted to get to one thing before we did. Social media was on fire this week, and I want to get your guys' take on this. Now, if you're listening to this, it's kind of tough because it is a visual thing. But I want to hear from the three guys on this podcast the scenario that played out like this. They take the United States and they slice it up in regions. And there was an A, it's kind of like starts at the top and it works its way clockwise, and then you go B and C, D, E, F, G, and H, going around the United States, cutting it up into certain spots. And the rules were for the rest of your life, you can only play one region. Unlimited budget, access to any course, can play whenever you want. So I think the podcast is a great place to actually express what you're thinking. It's hard to do it in writing and explain. And I don't know if you saw this, Tim. I know Mike did. I'd like to hear where you guys would play and why that would be your deciding factor.
It's going to be the same spot. We both know it's all going to be the same spot.
C was the best courses because C got you that sliver that got all of Long Island. It got all of the. It got Philadelphia, so you have the mecca of like private golf on all those, the greatest courses.
I think Cape Cod was in there too.
Yes, and then there was D. D went down to like Augusta, Seminole, Pinehurst maybe. But my take was kind of a little different. Like if C was the best to me without question for courses, but H on the other side had like all of California. Had a bunch of the other ones, so you have also spectacular courses. I mean, we're talking, Pasatiempo and Pebble and Cypress, and year-round golf. So you can play all year at H. You go to C, you're not playing golf 12 months out of the year. You are only playing golf a certain amount of time. So it's like that's to me that was the hard one with C or H because. C to me is like, I mean, Pine Valley. I mean, you got Marion, all that ones in line. I mean, it's amazing. But
you're missing Atlantic City was in that too. They included there. It was just in C, and they played golf there year round for years and years and years. When men were
I don't know.
So you're telling me Mike Foray wouldn't be out there in the cold?
Of course I would. Of course I would. But like, I mean, some years they play probably year round, but maybe some years they can't because of some they get some weather there in the winter here and there. But I don't know. But I mean, H you get perfect weather year round basically in a lot of those spots. But
you have to at least bring up A in terms of you got three of the great resorts that you can attend: Sand Valley, Bandon Dunes, Gamble.
Well, yeah, but they're
but that's like if you want to play a fun place,
sure.
That's great. I mean, you got Sand Hills in there.
You do, but think about this, Jeff.
I know, but you guys are more of like the more like classic-y, that type of golf course. I'm not as hardcore about those than you guys are. I like the fun layouts. Yeah. I like the open layouts. I like the vibe places. And I'll be honest, I've never been to Pinehurst, so I'm sure that is also an amazing place. But I'm telling you, like. Just on being at Bandon and being at Sand Valley and then knowing that Gamble Sands looks pretty sick. And then you got Chambers. I mean, you got mountain courses. You could go play some
good.
sick.
I mean, every one has good course, but like think about this. C has Marion, Pine Valley, Aronimink, Philly Cricket Club, Philadelphia Country Club. It's got Shinnecock, Bethpage Black, Fisher's Island. I mean, there's about literally like of the top 20 courses in the United States, like 15 are in C. Like it's insane. It's insanity.
You're missing the biggest point too. Think of the transit time in between those courses as compared to any of the other regions. I mean, I'm doing 36 a day the rest of my life.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, where's National at? National Golf Links.
National Golf Links is in C.
Okay.
Winged Foot would be in C. I mean, Myopia Hunt Clubs probably was in C. I mean, it was an endless like cornucopia of the greatest golf courses in America are in C. It's insane.
And I know the stipulation was unlimited budget, but I know California is gonna tax the hell out of my unlimited budget to a point where even though I have unlimited money, I would still take offense.
I don't think New York is that far behind California, to be honest, Tim, and Texas probably.
There were some real estate loopholes you could do. Something, and then your state tax came off your federal tax. There's some loopholes. And
let's be clear here. If this was a real thing and I could play any of these courses, I don't need to own anywhere. I will live in a cardboard box with my golf clubs and just play golf every day because I can at all of these courses. And they're all private, so they all have free snacks and stuff. You would never need to have food to eat. You just go to the golf course and eat. It's just, and play golf. It'd be amazing.
I could pretty much say like the Texas one was getting no love, and there's a lot of people that chose D. Like D was a heavy favorite too. Like C and D were probably the two.
Yeah, I mean D was good. There was a good swath of courses in D as well, for sure. Augusta and Seminole, and there's a bunch there too.
Yeah, and all the Carolina stuff, and yeah. So, anyways, I thought that'd be a good little talking point because it's preference there, and there's factors like weather. You have to think through that a little bit.
So while we're talking about golf courses, you guys don't know this, but I got to tell you. So I got into it on X or whatever. Not really got into it.
No, Mike got into it. Mike,
when we leave him alone, he just gets into it all over.
I hopped into a conversation on there about Minnesota golf courses. And that's what I love about X. Like, you can go in there, as long as you're not a jerk, you can kind of like say, hey, this is kind of wrong in a nice way. But somebody on there was saying that
I would love to hear you say that in a nice way.
Somewhere on there, somebody on there was saying interlock is not very good, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you played it since the renovation? It's pretty good. To me, it's the best course in Minnesota now. And the argument was that Keller was better than Interlochen. And I love Keller. Keller's great. It's not Interlochen. They're not in the same. They're not in the same planet. And you should have seen the other people pile on this guy. They were like, "What are you smoking, man? Like, what is happening?"
I'm gonna assume he's never been to Interlochen. That's the only thing that makes sense. It is not the easiest thing to get on. I'm sure you took a little bit of time rubbing that in.
And then he went on to say something about the same guy said something about what did he say? Oh, Somerset was his white whale or something. And so I was talking about that, yeah. And then he went on to say, I was talking Rainer, and he goes, have you played Minnesota Valley? And, I said, yeah, blah, blah. And then somebody hopped right back on. I'm like, you were complaining about, the renovation at Interlochen when they just had the same kind of renovation in Minnesota Valley? He was like, people were just piling on this guy. I was sitting there laughing my ass off, kind of.
Don't go to the internet if you want to make friends. There you go.
No, it ended up all being very civil. I was going back and forth like, that's fine. That's your opinion. I was like, I love Keller. I think Keller's awesome. Like, it's just not as good as Interlochen. I mean, just not. I don't know what else to say. We've played them both.
I'm with 100% Interlochen on that, but people have their, there's weird people out there. They like certain things.
That's what we settled on at the end. All these people are like, yeah, you can pick whatever you want, I
mean, some people like black licorice, Mike. I mean, how?
How?
I don't know. It's like that tastes like just absolute tar in my mouth. Like,
my dad loves it.
This is the one thing this podcast has ever agreed on.
My dad loves black licorice. I don't get it. Like, why? How are Good and Plenty still being made for like Halloween candy? Who is eating candy coated black licorice? What kind of psychopath do you have to be to eat that box of stuff?
I mean, Mike, as a history teacher, right? How hard were the times back then to consider black licorice a candy and a delicacy?
I don't know. All I think of is Jägermeister. Whenever I look at black licorice, I just think of Jaeger. That's all I think of. Like, oh, this is so gross.
Is it laced with Jaeger? I mean, that's what it is?
It can't get any worse.
I mean, who took a bite and goes, yeah, that's the spot. We're gonna produce that. That's people are gonna like this.
My dad loves that person. I mean, my dad would like nothing more than watch a little gun smoking bonanza and have some black licorice.
Wow.
How about this? Remember this one? Remember when there was a time? Tim might be too young for this, Jeff. Twizzlers remember they had the chocolate licorice for a little while. That was a thing in the stores in a bag. Chocolate flavored licorice.
I tried it. Yep.
It
wasn't good.
Not really.
It was like a hint of chocolate.
Yes,
okay.
It was not very good.
Did they produce chocolate nibs?
No, but I love a good nib. I love a good cherry over strawberry all day long. Nibs for sure.
Oh, well, let's center this back to the A topic and getting back to the Ryder Cup. We've already talked a little bit about it, and there's there was some noise this week with the old Bryson and Rory, and I think it started when Bryson basically, I don't know if it was some interview or something, basically said he's going to chirp Rory if he gets an opportunity, and that, Rory's pretty combative when it comes to media, and he's going to share his opinion, and he says, quote, "I think the only way he gets attention is by mentioning other people," said McElroy. "That is basically what I think of that. To get attention, he will mention me or Scotty or others." What is your take on this this feud? Is it going to actually produce some, like, remember Rory was in the heat of the last one with the hat gate, and we got to have something out there. So is this going to be the one? Are we going to pair Rory versus Bryson in singles maybe, or get something going?
I've got a direct quote from Bryson here as well. And he goes, this is a while back. He says, "Don't touch those titties. Those are my titties."
That's right.
Remember that?
Direct quote to Rory.
Happy, right?
So, yeah. I think Bryson's hot for him. I
Love
think
where
he's coming in
Bryson's
hot.
head's at, though. I mean, that's a true savant right there. But speaking of savants, Brandel Chambly today, or last night, Jeff probably saw this. I don't know about Tim.
I saw this.
And Brandel can be a lightning rod. People disagree. I don't always agree with him, but I will say this. He is a golf savant. That guy remembers. He knows, like, it's insane the amount of knowledge he spews out on those live froms. It's crazy. But he kind of went off on Bryson today. Did you see that?
Yeah, he claimed there's bots on his views.
He said he's more worried about YouTube than he is about winning the Ryder Cup, essentially. And he's got all these views, but he said there are probably a lot of bots. But he went on to say, he touched on, here's his exact quote: "I think he's going to be such a difficult person to get paired with. No doubt he's one hell of a golfer. No doubt he has the moments of generosity with fans. I've heard about them. But he's an odd duck when he's trying to blend in with the team, and he has so many potential bulletin board mistakes." Like with Rory, like Brandel's not wrong. I don't know. He's practicing today. I took a picture of who's he practicing with. Today, Bryson practiced with Ben Griffin, like we talked about in the last pod, Justin Thomas, and Cam Young. Like, I think that is what Keegan's probably trying to figure out, is who you exactly put with Bryson DeChambeau out there and how you're going to make that work.
He is the individual, right? He's always been that way. He's always kind of been the outsider, from going back to how he dressed, to the equipment that he tried, to the golf balls that he mixed in, whatever, to everything he does is kind of this my own style. And so when you get him into a team event, it's, can he fit in? Can he find, and it doesn't really need to be necessarily a team. You just got to find that one guy that he can mesh with. I mean, that's ultimately what you need to find. I mean, he doesn't need to sit there and be, buddy necessarily with all 12 guys, but he needs to find that one guy that he can kind of lean on, to bring him in and not feel like an outsider. I mean, he's the only live player from America, right? So that's another thing, and it'll be interesting.
I have an interesting comparison here, and I was going to bring it up anyway, but this is a good segue to it. Kind of reminds me of Tiger. Tiger's kind of a loner on tour, did his own thing, competitor. Tiger's record in the Ryder Cup, it wasn't great, 13-21-3. But in singles, he was 4-2-2. He had a winning record in singles. He was terrible in the team part. He was 1-7. Tiger was in the team aspect of the Ryder Cup. Like,
I have been watching so many of those lately, though, Mike. He got paired with some dogs.
That's part of the problem, I think. I was going to say, like, why do we think that is? That's what I think. And I think it's either one of two things, probably. Either he got paired with a player that wasn't as good, or he got paired with a good player, but they weren't used to playing in that kind of environment with Tiger, with all of everybody. Like, it's a different level of fan, I know it's the Ryder Cup, but everybody's watching Tiger, and Tiger's used to that. And I don't know if the other players necessarily were. There's got to be something to it. Like, he was terrible record-wise, at least in the team aspect.
Think about it. He plays with blinders on. Like, he doesn't even see anybody else but what's in front of him. And, like, when you got to try to, I don't know, be more willing to tap into somebody else's thoughts, ideas, it's like he gets sidetracked off of what he's trained to do. And I think that comes into it. I think, not to compare me when I played my, like, buddy Ryder Cup, but, like, when you start playing with somebody else, it definitely is a different mindset. Maybe he takes on more, thinks he takes on more responsibility with certain shots, or like he just can't rip away, deal with his own consequence when you're trying to kind of play for somebody else. There's something to that. It's just not quite be able to unleash it, except it's all the individual responsibility, right? That's what individual sports are.
Yes. And I also think there's the way Tiger played was very conservative, right? Hit to the middle of greens. It's kind of the way Scotty plays, very conservative. Now, Scotty was good at whistling, but he did not play great at Italy, which nobody did. But they play a certain way that's very good. Like if this was a stroke play tournament, that kind of way on Bethpage Black is the way you play, right? You just get, smart, safe, get it to spots. This is match play. It's a lot different. Being safe all the time isn't always the way to go. You got to kind of be aggressive. And that's just not the way Tiger was trained to play. He just didn't play that way. He played safe a lot and just let everybody else make mistakes. I don't know. That could be some of it too. It's weird. It's a weird deal.
Was going to say too, with regards to Tiger, some of the pairings that he did get, his internal monologue that may have even come out verbally had to be absolutely terrible. Could you imagine?
Sure.
You are Tiger Woods and you're paired with Steve Stricker, and it's the late 2000s.
Well,
we're talking about a guy that's
buddy.
He barely on tour anymore, though, barely hitting the ball. Tiger's like, God, I would never hit it here. This is so short off the tee. Or with Mickelson and his new driver back in, what was that, 04, I want to say? Just, Phil, terrible fucking shot. Right against the fucking fence. Come on, man.
That was a disaster. That was one of the all-time disasters in Ryder Cup history. The mega pairing of Tiger and Phil, who didn't get along.
It is, folks. It is the best. It is the best thing you can watch if you're looking for Ryder Cup stuff to watch. I believe it's 04, isn't it?
Something like that. I can't remember the exact year.
Phil Tiger. It was the Phil Tiger 4-ball, and they were absolutely atrocious.
The 1 and 2 ranked players in the world by a mile at the time, probably, and they didn't like each other, and somebody paired them together. What do you do?
That was the story. The story goes, wanted to pair them together because Arnie and Jack eventually got paired together. They became a little bit closer. It created a more cohesive golf world. It did not work, folks. You don't pair those two together.
Phil has some bad electric Ryder Cup moments, 2018 in France, when he shouldn't even have been playing on the team. He had no business. He was playing so bad. He conceded a hole on the tee box.
That's right. Par 3.
He sprays her into the water and just gives him the freaking hole. Here, your hole. Doesn't even go into another shot or anything.
I think he got curb stopped by Molinari on that, wasn't it?
Pumped.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting pumped, and I saw a highlight today. Sergio's biggest loss ever, 5 and 4. Do you know who put it on him?
Anthony Kim?
AK just pumped him. The biggest winner in the history of the Ryder Cup got just pumped.
That was the one where he started walking the next tee box. He didn't even know the match was over.
Yeah.
He just went for the next one. Well, Mike, let's talk about that. Do we have, when it comes to pairings, do you have some ideas of how you think this is going to happen? Because I think Thursday is the day that we find out all this stuff. It's a 3-day event.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let's look at the U.S. team, right? What do we think? Xander and Cantlay will for sure be a pairing, right? More than likely. Although they weren't.
For what though? Because it mattered, the four sum versus the 4-ball.
Well, I think it depends. Here, the problem Keegan has this year is neither player. Cantlay a little bit at the end there played well, but neither player has played like they typically play, right? And other than Italy, where they weren't as good, these two have been the automatic pairing. You just throw them out there in every format, either one. And they've kicked ass at the President's Cup, Ryder Cups. At Whistling, they just work really well together. Their buddies. So I'm assuming he'll go back to that. I don't know. That would be my bet. Don't you guys think? You got to at least go out the first day, right? Try it and see where they're at. They've been really good together.
I do not have them together on my first day.
Interesting. I have them together every until they show that they can't be. I'm putting them together.
I put them together if I'm the captain as well. I would definitely put them together.
The Euro team, they're going to put the same teams out there that they've been doing, and I got a deep dive on why they're good at that. But okay, so I don't know, who? Okay, Who's Scotty with then? Who do you got Scotty with? Tim?
I've got Scotty first group off with JJ Spawn because we're just putting America first there. We're putting our guys that have won national champions this year out together.
Jeff, who do you got?
I don't know. I think like possibly like a little Russell Henley or
I was thinking Russell Henley.
something like that. Yeah.
You guys don't want to bring the boom right away? That the national spirit of getting the two champs together and out there first group, first tee time. First
I don't know
everything.
if I think that way, Tim. I just
No. I'm thinking about we're trying to win, Tim.
We
want to win. We're not
they're a good pairing together.
If it's me, I'm not putting JJ Spawn out there until 4 ball in the afternoon. I'm gonna go, and here's the secret. Let's just talk about this quickly. I got the stats for you. In the last 5 Ryder Cups, the team that wins foursomes wins the Ryder Cup, and it's the last 5 haven't even been close. In foursomes on Friday and Saturday in Italy in 2023, it was 7-1 Europe. 2021 at Whistling Straits, 6-2 USA. 2018, 6-2 Europe. 2016, 5.5 to 2.5 USA, and 2014 Europe won 7-1. So whoever wins the foursomes in the last 10 years has won this thing. So it's so important that you get this right. And you try to figure out the alternate shot aspect, which is what foursome is if you're listening.
Here we go, guys.
We have struggled.
Great news from Break 80. You can stop watching the Ryder Cup after Saturday morning.
Whoever's head, yeah. I mean, so
shut her down.
So that's where I'm going to hold off on JJ Spawn because he has not played at any of these events. I'm going to let him get out there, walk around, be on the first tee. Russell Henley has played in a President's Cup, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's been on one of the teams.
He's got a little.
I don't think a Ryder Cup though.
Not Ryder Cup. So Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, and JJ Spawn are your 3 rookies.
Cameron's played in a President's Cup, I believe.
Cameron Young's played a President's Cup, not a Ryder Cup. Yep. Harris English has played in a Ryder Cup. He was at Whistling.
He has
Straight.
Whistling. Yep.
So I mean, if it's me, I'm throwing Russell Henley and Scotty. Probably. There is a strategy to who you pick to TF where, and I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm going Xander and Cantlay. If it's me, the very first American that tees off is Bryson. He'll get the crowd fired up. He doesn't mind that. The problem is, who do you play him with? If like Ben Griffin is the guy to me that kind of fits the mold.
Yeah, the social media guys.
Yes, but then you don't. But are you? But I mean, I guess if you got to find somebody to play with him, you got to throw him out there. I do think, in a weird way, one that could work. He's been bad. I would sit him till singles. Honestly, is Morikawa, because Morikawa is a pretty steady ball striker. Now, and Bryson tends to be a decent putter, so you could kind of finagle something around there. And Morikawa's played in a bunch of these, and he'll get the ball in play. He's a good iron player. If Bryson's hitting the driver well, he's an okay wedge player. I just don't know. Like the Bryson pairing is the weird one. I don't know who you put with them, how they do it.
What about JT?
JT could hang with Bryson. I think they could make that work possibly.
I think that he brings the wedge play that Bryson has shown that he doesn't quite have, and Bryson's going to be able to put JT into wedge situations
but here's the
more
problem
frequently than anyone else.
Here's the problem with that pairing. That pairing off the tee could go sideways in a real hurry.
Bryson was one of the best drivers, though, on
but
tour.
He's not always, though. He gets wonky. Augusta, hard pulls. Even when he won the U.S. Open, he got bailed out by a lot of breaks in the weeds. And like he can get wonky off the tee sometimes. And we know JT can. Then you're in real trouble. But
the other thing I like about that pairing, though, the Bryson JT pairing in particular, right after Scotty and JJ go out, you've got the loudest group right after them. If the roar wasn't big enough for the national champs, they're following up. And I think JT's one of the few players that won't get annoyed with some of Bryson's antics just because JT participated in some of the same things. Drinking that beer, getting the crowd pumped up. We have Bryson stealing the Augusta sign. Right, we're going to see something odd coming out of that group if it happens. Some really, really big, memorable moments.
Will Bryson have any antics this time, other than the first tee? Like, there's no drivable par 4 for him. There's no That was the show at Whistling, right? The drivable par 4 and the one par 5 where that weird par 5
Oh my God, he
played
carried it 360.
with that goofy water spot, the water on both sides. This is a goofy hole. He covered that, but I don't know if there's nothing at Bethpage that sets up for that kind of spectacle, right? It's just a hard, long golf course. But I don't know. It's going to be wonky. Like Cam Young could play a bunch here in this because it's a good course for him. Perfect setup for Cameron Young if he's putting okay, which he has this year. So I don't know. There's a couple of weird blind spots. I'll be fascinated on Thursday night to see who they put out, who Keegan throws out there for the foursomes.
Can we do a kind of go back to that first pairing quick? Who do you think the Europeans throw out first? I know we're talking American, but I think it's something to say when we talk about this. How do you think they combat this rowdy crowd and throwing out two guys that want to set the tempo and set the stage, to go against whatever America does?
If they're going to go off of Italy, they're going to throw out Hovland and Ludwig, who just beat the living piss out of Scott 8-7, just pumped him. Yeah. So, but I don't know what order they'll put him in, but I don't know. I could see a Hatton, Shane Lowry kind of team. Possibly,
I think
Rory, Hatton should be part of that. Maybe
with a little moxie, some guys that kind of got a little don't mind the crowd. I mean,
Hatton's got to be one of the most competitive guys out there. He would be, I think, a fantastic first player. I don't know who he'd pair him with.
Well, here's the thing.
Maybe a Rory. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about this quickly. Let's do this deep dive because this really matters. I think this is where the European team has been spectacular. So how this works, everybody, is it's basically odds and evens for tee shots, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, at Bethpage Black, the first hole is a big dog leg, right? You can cut the corner, but ideally you'd want somebody that hits it left to right, right? And then so you would put like Rory, who hits it right to left, wouldn't want that tee shot as much. Where John Rahm, Victor Hovland hits a cut. Guys that hit a cut like that tee shot. So there are some rumors from hole 1 though that they could try to make it almost drivable. Yes, they can maybe cut that whole thing. But so here's kind of how this would work. At Bethpage Black, hole 1 you want a left to right driver. Hole 2 you want a right to left. Let's see, what hole is this? 1, 2, 3. Hole 4 is right to left. Hole 6 is right to left. So that's where you want your draw guy hitting the evens, like Rory. Hole 1 there's a lot of either dog legs or subtle dog legs, right, at Bethpage. Hole 1 is a left to righter. Everybody's seen that one. Where now you can cut the corner on that one, so it doesn't matter. But hole 3 is a par 3, so it doesn't matter as much. But then a lot of the odd holes are where you want your left to right hitter. You got your righty that's hitting the fade. So I think that is where the Europeans have done a spectacular job with analytics, because then what happens is basically if player A, and I got this from somebody on the internet, but I didn't come up with this completely on my own, other than maybe some of the course holes. But there is a way you can set it up where, and this is what the Euros did in Italy, where your best drivers of the ball and ball strikers are going to tee off more and hit more approach shots, and your best you pair your best ball strikers. So Rory, Rahm, Lowry, Hovland, statistically speaking, going in Italy, were the 4 best ball strikers Europe had for Marco Simone. They got paired with the best putters. Luke Donald put them with the best putters, and that was Fleetwood, even though we've seen under pressure once in a while. But in the Ryder Cup, he's a different putter than he is in a lot of major, whatever. Fleetwood, Hatton's a good putter too. Sepp Straka and Ludwig, statistically, were the best putters going into Italy. He paired them up so that would be the scene where the guys that putt, there's a way you can do it where the guys are going to, if you figure in par 3s, where you don't need an approach shot, it's the tee shot and a putting. You can set it up where the guys who are your better putters are going to end up having more greens to putt on than the other guys. And those pairings were 7-1 in Italy so hopefully the United States looks at that and figures that out, because there's a way to do it, and especially at a course like Bethpage with dog legs, where you can get friendly tee shots for guys that are comfortable with certain shots and make it set up so that, again, we're not playing checkers and Europe's playing chess with all this stuff. So hopefully, I'm sure we've learned from this. I would assume.
Do we have an Eduardo Molinari on our
I don't know.
statistical team?
Dodo Molinari.
Do we have one? Or
I don't see Kevin Kisner being a big analytics guy. We got Jim Furyk, Steve Stricker.
I think the old boys working for Cantlay will whip something up. One of the hedge funds will come up with some analytical models.
You know who the analytics guy is for the U.S. team. It's the big cat. The big Tiger gets all into that stuff. Tiger loves that stuff. He's the analytics guy that gets into all that stuff, but he's not vice captain. I don't know why or what's going on. I'm sure they've reached out to him because he's big into that. But there is a lot of I think people just think, okay, somebody rolls out and hits the first tee shot, somebody hits the second tee shot. It isn't like that. There's a lot of strategy involved here because this is the best players in the world. You kind of think, okay, you can kind of figure out they're going to hit basically almost every green or get very close. So you can try to finagle your way to have your better putters putt more and have your better ball strikers hit more tee shots and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it goes. I don't even know why. Pairings we were talking about. So yeah, I don't know. You gotta find a way to get Scotty irons, as many iron shots as possible. You gotta find a way to do those things and get some of your guys like Tim said, get Justin Thomas a setup where he's going to hit a lot of wedges and not long irons. Find a way to put him with somebody that's going to get a wedge in his hand on some of the shorter par fours because he's maybe the best in the world at that. You have to find ways to do that if you want to win.
Well, yeah, I think if you could find a way to highlight a strength with a guy that feeds with the guy's other strength that feeds into that strength, right? Guy that's amazing at 15 to 20 footers, maybe you put him with one of the best proximity to the hole guys, or like you guys say, somebody that can drive it pretty far and accurate, put him with one of the best wedge, low iron players, whatever, high iron, whatever. You got to kind of negate some of those. And then when it comes to weaknesses, if you're not great off the tee, if that's a situation, then maybe you got to get a guy that, is more, I don't know, creative or at least hits a lot of green regulations. It doesn't need to be close. It just needs to be a good GIR guy, even if it's coming out of the rough, or a short game, if a weaker iron if you have a weaker iron guy and, hopefully he's paired with somebody that's really good around the greens, how do you decide that? And that's kind of the game. And sometimes do you guys think that, America's been pretty lax on that and in Europe's maybe been the hard opposite. It's do you think the answer is kind of somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think maybe one of the most overrated coaching things in all of professional sports is the Ryder Cup captain. They still have to hit shots, right? You got to hit golf shots. You got it, but I think besides the pairings, I think one of the sneaky underrated things that isn't talked about a lot is I think it's a lot harder for the U.S. players to go to Europe and win than it would be for the European players to come here because they all live here. They're barely Europeans anymore. They all live in the United States, most of them, not all of them, but for the most part, they live here their whole season.
Rory Sabatini would be very upset to hear this.
But they're already adapted to everything. Where if the U.S. team's got to go over there and kind of figure out body clocks and all that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that's where I do have a sneaky suspicion that if Morikawa shows something in practice this week, although I do think Ben Griffin's the guy, he could put Morikawa with Bryson. Their personalities don't mesh at all, but I think that's a little overrated. I think his Morikawa's steadiness with irons, even off the tee, he's short, but he hits a lot of fairways. He's a pretty good driver of the golf ball, actually, statistically speaking, not distance-wise. He just is solid, and Bryson can be erratic at times, and I think he needs a little stabilizing force.
I don't think Colin's going to be a good alternative for anyone's partner.
Well, he's been terrible
above anyone else. Well, yeah, and you see his ball speed, and it's 165. My God, that's an elite amateur level.
But here's the problem, Tim. We have a bunch of guys like that. Russell Henley, J.J. Spaun, all three of you got to play somebody. You can't they're not. We don't have as much firepower But what was I going to say about Bryson here? I can't remember. Something about Bryson. I don't know. I don't know what I Ben Griffin's my guy, but at the same time, I don't know. You want to put him out there the first morning, and you should put Bryson out there.
You kind of brought this up. Do you think anybody? Do you think Keegan's the kind of guy that has the balls to just not play anybody until singles? I just don't see it, but that's happened in the past. I mean, I maybe from the European side, the Højgaard might not. I mean,
the Europeans, Rasmus was bad at Wentworth. The Europeans have Jarmo Sandelin, I'm pretty sure, 1 year. That's a name a lot of people don't even know. In the late 90s, early 2000s, he didn't play.
Morant, did he play?
I don't know, but Jarmo Sandelin did not play till singles. He was one of those guys that had had played really well at the beginning of the year to get a bunch of points, and he got an automatic bid, an automatic spot, and then was just ass. Like the backhand, and they sat him till singles. He did not play a single thing till he forced to play. He played in singles. That was it. So I mean, I don't know. I could see if Morikawa comes. Let's say they put Morikawa out there the first morning, and he is just garbage. Done. Just sit him. Just sit him till singles. He doesn't need to play. He's been bad.
You're putting him out in a foursome. I've got Morikawa as kind of the lamb to the slaughter in 4-ball Friday afternoon with Cantlay. Like, let's see. They're both playing bad. Just put them together, figure it out.
So
do two bads equal a good, Tim? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. I actually
two
see
lefts equal a right.
I actually see Morikawa. I see Morikawa as more of a alt shot foursome player than a 4-ball, because he doesn't have the firepower. In 4-ball, if you look at it, is a birdie fest with two guys in a group. Two of the 24 of the best players in the world, 4 guys on a hole. Somebody's making birdie on a ton of these holes. Like, it's a birdie fest.
You got to have your Cam Youngs playing that.
You're going to put all of your big boppers out there. And then I see Morikawa, if he's playing well, as more of like a steadying force in alternate shot, where he can just hit solid shots. He's a good ball striker, and the putter can get wavering, but he won't have to putt as much in alt shot. In 4-ball, he's got to putt the whole round. He's got to make putts. So I don't know. Morikawa to me is the weird spot too. I don't know where they're going to put him, how they're going to play him, because of his form.
Yeah, it was either going to be that one, or I was going to have him sitting until Sunday.
Yeah, I mean that's where the pairing of Cantlay and Sander, when they've been playing good, is so good, because they don't really have any major weaknesses. It's like Hatton. Hatton doesn't have a major weakness. He's a good putter, good ball striker, good driver of the ball. Like, some of those guys you can play in everything, and they're good. And certain guys you got to kind of figure out.
Can we just clone Scotty and just put 12 of him out there? Because that's the most reasonable way to win at this point.
He was not very good in Italy either, but he got put in some bad spots in the team part. But
yeah, and so Mike, you're doing an article on when this thing gets. Do you remember what's the ultimate format? It's 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So it's Friday and Saturday are the same. It goes.
What's the first order?
Morning both days is foursomes, so alternate shot. I think Friday's 6 a.m., 6 something a.m. Eastern time, so 7 here. Something like that. Roughly 7 a.m. I gotta look. I got an article. I got some notes somewhere. I'm putting it out tonight, but with kind of when everything's going to be on. But it goes foursomes and then 4-ball, foursomes, 4-ball, and then Sunday is all singles, all 12 matches. I think starting at about noon. Roughly.
And I know there's some differences between Presidents and Ryder Cup. Is everything just blind reveal? Is there any strategy and you throw him out, he throws him out?
Yeah, so how do they do
Is it all just you set a lineup and you turn it over and then you figure out who you play? Because I think I want to say one of the two. I can't remember if it's Presidents.
One side
or Ryder.
sets the lineup first, and then the other one gets to counter it. And let's see here. I'll look it up. So, yes. So they're going to put out on Thursday. Thursday night is when they're going to put out the first morning matches. I'm
Yeah, that's
I got to say
the part.
those first morning matches both days are the ones that I find the most fun to watch, because alt shot is just, it's so different outside of the one tournament outside of Zurich that we get to see on tour.
All right, here's how it works. The home team's captain decides when their lineup is revealed first. The away team's captain then reveals their lineup after the home team's has been made public. So the away team gets to adjust the strategy based on, the home team lineup. So, so basically we'll throw out say Sunday singles. Now, normally if you have a lead in Sunday singles and you're the home team, so let's say the United States has a lead because we get to throw it out first. You're front loading that front end with your studs, right? You're trying to get out and extend that lead and build it up. So then they have to then front load theirs too with all their studs. They can't, they can't wait. They can't afford. Let's say we have a lead. Let's say we're up 3. I'm actually hoping it's really close. That'll be fun. And then we throw out Scotty and JT and Cantley. These guys that have a history of Scotty and then our best, typically like JT and Cantley are our 2 best historical players right now, at least on this team. You're going to put your Ben Griffins, your JJ Spahns probably towards the back end of that, your rookies. Well, they can't then afford to put Rory and their studs on the back end because they got to win some of those early matches or it's going to be over. So that's kind of how that one works.
Yeah, it's game theory, right? Front load
yes.
it and try to stack it as quick as possible to get momentum going.
So the first ones, I don't know if there's much to the first morning, right? Keegan just needs to pick good teams that he thinks are going to be good because he's going to throw them out there, and then he has no say as who they play. The Europeans get to pick who they want to match up with, essentially. Now, after that, though, and you can figure out the points, then you can start finagling maybe where you want to put people. But, yeah, it's kind of a blind thing for the home team. You're just throwing it out there until Sunday, at least, for singles if you have a lead. And then
So are we on to singles? Can I ask who we're looking to be paired against each other there? Who's playing who, and who are you excited to see?
Or how about this? What are some singles that you'd like to see? Because really, you can't. I mean, when you got 12 matches, you're not going to hit it. You're not going to hit it.
You rarely get the big showdown you want, but
I think we could get somewhat of one, at least 2. I'm very hopeful for. One is Scotty Rahm, I
was going to say the same thing. I would love to see Scotty Rahm
because you don't want to see Rahm Bryson. Just because they play against each other all the time. Let's do the whole cross the golf world.
And I don't think it's lost on Jon Rahm that he was once the world number 1 player, and Scotty has just totally blown the doors off that thing the last few years.
And let's not forget the PGA Championship where Scotty dominated down the stretch and Rahm faltered.
Well, let's talk about faltering then, and the next one would be Bryce and Rory because
you got to have that.
Wow, would that be great?
Give me that.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm 100% certain that's not going to happen.
Oh God, everyone would be watching that. The entire rest of all of the matches
Bryson
could just be turned off.
Bryson is like the new Patrick Reed in a way, right? At least the individual. He's kind of the outcast. You got to get him with Rory. The chirping has already happened. Let's go.
I think. Here's my take on this. I think that stuff gets to Rory. I don't know. I don't know if Rory's.
Yeah, he's worked really hard on those titties. I mean, he's been in the gym a lot.
So I don't see a such scenario where if it's close at least, where Luke Donald is going to put Rory in that situation. I don't see it.
Would that be though?
Oh, it'd be great for fans. I mean, we would all love it, but I would be shocked if he throws if the pairings came out and Bryson's up front, if we're ahead and he puts Rory out. I could see him putting.
You don't think Rory's like, Coach, give me Bryson. I want him.
Maybe he is. I don't know, but I
can lock him down.
Maybe not. And Rory's been a good player in this. I don't. Maybe, but I could see Bryson getting paired with a Tyrrell, a Hatton going out there. Because I think the way you would beat Bryson the way you could beat Bryson is if he's not playing great. If he's playing good, it's gonna be tough. He's gonna be tough. Is you just have a steady guy that makes a lot of pars. Because if we've seen Bryson sometimes go wonky with a lot of bogeys. He can make a lot of birdies too, but I think the way you would beat him is just to have a really steady guy who doesn't make a lot of mistakes and see if Bryson beats himself somewhat. Where Rory's kind of like Bryson too. Rory will make a lot of mistakes sometimes, and that's a volatile kind of situation there.
I think
So
I was just gonna say put a good iron player against him because they'll be hitting first a lot.
Exactly. Put the heat on Bryson. You get a guy just steady, and then you put the heat on him, see what happens.
And I apologize for this next hopeful because I have it coming out third, and it's going to absolutely slow down the entire pace of play behind this group. But I think it's the easiest way to beat Hatton because he plays fast and he gets pissed. And either put Cantlay or Cam Young against him. Granted, every other round behind that's taken 7 hours, but slow playing people is the best way to win in match play.
Then again, Luke Donald isn't going to – there's no way – well, maybe it happens. There's no way Luke Donald puts Tyrrell Hatton with the slowest player on earth, Patrick Cantlay. I can't see it. Tyrrell would be – he'd break every club. There wouldn't be any clubs left in the bag.
They'd be so genius, though. Like if we had the freedom to do that, that's who he gets paired with.
These are matchups we want to see, in my opinion. Like, we're not going to nail a 12 versus 12. It's just pairs you want to see. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things like I think like with Ludwig, you put a talker out there. Someone's going to try talking too much. Get him uncomfortable. But again, we don't get to pick the Euros get to pick who they pair up people against.
The last one I have, and I saved this for the last spot. So usually these don't matter. It's been years and years and years, decades since the final match has mattered at all. But it's JT versus Rose. Just two of our kind of surly vets who've been in the situation before. They've played under pressure. They're going out very last if it comes to it.
I wonder if let's say it's tight going into Sunday, which there's a chance it is. Like there hasn't been a tight one in a long time. There was a run in the 80s where it was like 1.1. There's a bunch of Ryder Cups that were tight. And we got to throw a lineup up there first. Who do we throw out last? The potential coming down to the stretch. It's not going to be one of the big dogs, I don't think. You're going to throw them out early no matter what. Because, no matter what, you're going to put your best players out early. Because if you're behind, you got to catch up. If you're ahead, you want to put them away. And if it's tight, you still want your best guys out there early, kind of, right? Just to see what's going on. I got a guy, I think.
Major tested, J.J. Spawn.
Maybe.
He's played in multiple playoffs. He played against Rory at Sawgrass. He played against Rose. Now, he didn't come out on top, but he hit some nuts shot. I mean,
he's been there. Yep.
He closed the stretch down in a major in a tough golf course. I mean, you're not losing like his points in the front end, but he's kind of got that look in him too, like he has no pulse.
Yeah, I was in the same vein. I was going to put Russell Henley out last, just a guy that's kind of gritty. Doesn't make a ton of mistakes. Good putter. I think you want a good putter at the end of these things because, it could come down to some putts or whatever. But that's my thinking as a guy. JJ, so a grinder. You want a grinder at the end that can kind of handle it a little bit.
I could see. I mean, Tim is kind of. I mean, do you put a Rose out somewhat earlier because he's kind of like could be the heartbeat of the team in a way, or do you wait and hold him to like a later
I think
spot?
it's either first or last. Either you have him up there at the first tee cheering everyone off before they go, and he's there if you need him, or he's got to go first and get everyone pumped. But I think at this situation with the firepower that Europe has, if it's close and there's a chance it has to be used, I think they're saving Rose pretty late in the lineup. I've also got Cantlay way down there too, just because he's almost always good for a W. It's not going to be flashy.
I think the Europeans have a couple of issues. They do look like a really good team. Rasmus Højgaard, rookie who did not play well in Wentworth, and Sepp Straka has not played well down the stretch and didn't play. He was the only one that didn't play in Wentworth. So I wonder if Luke Donald, if they're behind, or even if they're either way, if they're ahead, does he just put those two out there as like sacrificial lambs early in singles, like play Scotty and somebody else and just say, here's the deal. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a half point or lose. But we're going to probably lose, but we can pick up wins with all the other guys. That's the game within the game, right? You're trying to figure out who is going to more likely lose, who's going to win, blah, blah, blah. And I think like if you're not in good form, why not just go out there and play Scotty? Like and give her hell. See what happens.
What if Højgaard and Fleetwood play a best ball against Scotty?
Well, Fleetwood's playing well. I
mean, he has
think
been. How Højgaard, Sepp, and Fitz have to play a best ball against Scotty.
I mean, Fitz has been good too lately.
Yeah,
I think you're
he
gonna see.
has.
Aren't you gonna probably see like Rory and Fleetwood paired up? They make a pretty good team. They've played together before. I don't know. I just feel like
him or Lowry.
Yeah, I mean Keegan has so much of a harder job because Luke Donald's got basically the same team. You know, at least the first few days. Luke Donald knows who has known for weeks and weeks and weeks and months and months and months probably who he's pairing with. Just throw them out there because they did it before.
Well, Mike, don't you have a little game for Tim to play?
I do. Okay, Timmy.
Here we go.
This is good. I don't know. Jeff and I think we follow a lot of sports a little more, and there's just some 90s names. So I'm going to see if Tim, you can't look on your computer. There is a celebrity Ryder Cup match going on. I don't know. I think it's tomorrow. I can't remember what it is. Tuesday maybe. They're playing a 4-hole loop like 2 or 3 times across the 4 holes across the road. We're gonna see, Jeff. I have 3 players from the U.S. and 3 players from Europe. We're gonna see if Tim can guess what sport they played.
I love it.
Okay, here we go. Now, some of these U.S. ones are really easy. Like here's the first one, Tim. Eli Manning.
Football. Let's go.
What team?
New York Giants.
Position?
Quarterback.
All right, look at you. You guys should see the look on his face right now. He wasn't exactly
he's cocky
sure.
now. He
wasn't exactly sure.
He's the only guy to beat Brady.
All right,
he's cocky now.
Okay,
He's
2 Super Bowls. Come on.
I think he'll get all the USA ones right, and then it could go pear shaped. Jeff, we get to Europe. Here we go. Michael Strahan.
Football again.
What team?
Was he New York as well? And then linebacker, I believe, right?
Defensive end, close.
DM,
Okay.
sack guys.
New York Giants,
Okay.
sack leader. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're 2 for 2, and I think you'll get this one too. John McEnroe.
Tennis. Angry.
Yeah, John
Angry
McEnroe's
tennis.
playing in the Celebrity Ryder Cup.
Oh my God! He needs to break a lot of clubs.
Tyrrell out there and get a camera on that group. Him and Tyrrell playing. All right,
He's just snapping clubs.
Here's where we're going to really test him. This is where Tim's going to get
these soccer players.
the European squad. Pau Gasol.
Basketball.
Okay. Yep. Played for the Lakers.
Yeah, he was in Ireland when I was there.
That was the easiest. There's 2
Yeah, he's
more
landed that
tough-
helicopter.
Here we go, Jeff. Tim can get all these. Tony Kukoc.
Kukoc is basketball as well.
Yes, look at you. Played for the Bulls. You know what the greatest thing would be? Because Jordan's a Ryder Cup guy. If Jordan decides I'm going to lock down Tony Kukoc like he did at the Olympics, and Jordan and Pippen just show up and they're razzing him on every shot. Okay, Tim, this is the hardest one on here. Jeff will know this name. If you get this, you are perfect. 6 for 6. Teemu Selanne.
I mean, you haven't picked any exotic sports yet. I'm going to go with the numbers. We're going soccer.
Jeff, you know Teemu Selanne. He's a 90s guy.
I don't think I know this guy.
NHL player. He played in the
that's the one sport you have. I have no chance.
90s NHL stud.
Like Jeremy Roenick, like maybe some guys like that.
Pretty solid.
Yager. I mean, I'm not gonna get the hockey ones right.
Pretty solid, Timmy. Here's the rest of the people playing. Let me pull this up quick. So there's some weird ones. There's like the European team, David Beckham's kid, who I don't even know what he does. But let me hold on. I got to figure this. I got to find it on the app here.
Probably just looks handsome.
Yeah. Oh, for sure he does.
Is that what he does?
Celebrity match. Here's your celebrity squads. The U.S. team is Kane Brown. Isn't he a country music singer or something?
Yep.
Bobby Flay.
Chef. Yep. I'm nailing these.
Colin Jost, Saturday Night Live. Married to Scarlett Johansson, by the way. He's also like doing the breakfast at the range, whatever. Noah Kahan, remember the Kahan, the musician?
The Sticks. Yep.
Yeah, and Miranda Lambert is playing, apparently, country music singer. European team. I don't even know some of these guys. I have no idea. You got Kukoc, we talked about. Oliver Phelps. No idea who that is. Jose Andres, older guy. No idea. Let me click on him. Oh, I can't. I was going to say there could be a bio here. Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. David Beckham's kid, Tom Felton. Who's Tom Felton? And here we go, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Loved her in Zorro. What is it?
Rounding out the European celebrity squad.
Zorro. She was in
Yes.
Zorro.
Here's
and
how
these
they
folks
play
are
it.
playing golf. There's a
They're
lot of
playing
folks I
golf.
didn't know were known for playing golf.
It's on Wednesday. They're playing 10 holes, 2-man scramble. So it's got points and everything. So it's just like a normal Ryder Cup. They're playing hole number 1. And then they play 1, 15, 16, 17, and 18 just over and over again, apparently, until they get to 10 holes. But those are your oh, here we go. Oh, here's the bios. I can tell you who some of these people are. Let's see the Europeans. Here's your bios. Okay. Chef Jose Andres. Tim, you're a big Michelin star restaurant guy. You didn't know one of the most influential chefs in the world? Internationally recognized? Culinary innovator? Wow.
We'll have to visit. Listen, if you're listening to this, whichever restaurant you own from the name I just forgot, hit up Break 80. We do reviews.
David Beckham's kid's bio is not like all the others. It says English media personality, model, and photographer, recognized for being the eldest son of world-renowned footballer David Beckham. Way to stand on your own accomplishments.
He's an influencer, Mike. Come on.
Yeah. Has a keen interest in photography, it says. And he went to the Parsons School of Design. Doesn't have a lot going on for his life, apparently, other than he's David Beckham and Victoria, whatever her name is, from Spice Girls' son. Tom Felton's an actor. He played Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Yeah, see, I'm not a Harry Potter guy.
I'm not really, but he's a Harry Potter guy. Paul Gasol, Tony Kukoc. Oliver Phelps, also a Harry Potter actor, played George Weasley or Wesley Weasley in Harry Potter. Yeah.
Maybe Europe will have a little magic.
Oh, Tamu Solani was such a stud. 92-93 NHL rookie record, 76 goals. Just the man. Anyway, that's your squad. So we got a couple of Harry Potters, we got a chef, we got some athletes in the European team.
Is that on TV?
I don't know. It doesn't
probably not.
I don't know if it is. It doesn't say anywhere. If it is, it might be. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm sure there's festivities going on all week, especially with it only starting Friday. They got to fill time doing something else.
Yeah.
So
that was going to be brutal to watch.
Yes, it is.
I mean, are we done with Ryder Cup? We just mentioned a little bit the Open de France.
Yeah.
Unless you're interested in fashion.
Oh,
we've got some fashion news coming out.
Yeah.
Right? This could be one of the worst years in Ryder Cup fashion, and there have been some doozies out there.
It can't be worse than the Justin Leonard year where they had the
99
pictures of all. They had pictures of all the people on there.
I have a great piece of history for you, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up because yes, that is by far the ugliest thing ever worn. That was actually a custom design by Ben Crenshaw. One of the coaches custom designed that polo, and they are photographs of different Ryder Cup moments throughout history. Awful, awful, awful design. One sold in 2018, authenticated, worn by one of the players. Do you know what it sold for?
God, I bet you it's way more than it should. Let's say $4,000.
It's $4,000. It sold for $4,000.
Look at that! Right on. I did not look that up either. Also, the '99 Ryder Cup was epic because if you guys remember, Leonard makes that putt to win from like 60 feet at Brookline, but they run all over the green, just trample on the line of what Olazabal had a putt to extend the Ryder Cup to keep it going, and they just run all over it everywhere, and he misses. And then Sam Torrance had the great comment about Tom Lehman afterwards about the U.S. team's behavior, stating Tom Lehman calls himself a man of God. He said that his behavior says otherwise. His behavior says otherwise, he said. Oh, man. Lehman did issue an apology that the American team got carried away, and his reaction was not a good thing. So that was a wild deal, the '99 Ryder Cup.
There's some good stuff on YouTube for that. But yeah, terrible shirts. Even their other shirts there were really bad. '08 had similarly poor shirts. Argyle shirts, awful, really bad, bold Argyle down just one side of them. But this year could be the worst in aging shirts. We have both the giant paint splashes running kind of horizontally on the shirt, and then we've got the micro logo that's really popular. Neither of these things are going to age well. And when we look back, that's what we think about all these other ones that have way too much going on. These are horrendous, guys. You buying any of the apparel for the Ryder Cup?
No, I never buy any of the apparel.
So expensive, yeah.
The Euros actually today had an interesting color combo in the practice round. They had like maroon and like peach. Did you see that? It wasn't
Gross.
bad. It wasn't horrible. I think it was horrible.
So last year marked the most expensive uniforms ever downed by a team, even more than the Hagen years. Probably not done for inflation, but the Loro Piana brand is ridiculously expensive, and that is who the outfitter is for Europe again this year. Although I will say last year's were atrocious. That blue color, so bad. They were some of my least favorite uniforms. I would take the frames over Europe's last year.
I feel like, the U.S. always has red, white, and blue, and the Euro team is traditionally that blue and yellow, but they go all over the place. The Euro team goes all over the place with colors. They got it. They get everything. There's like no rhyme or
brown.
reason.
There's like brown at times.
Yes, there's no rhyme or reason. There's that weird like burnt orange one they had a couple
Yeah, the
years
maroon,
ago.
maroon yellow combo.
Just horrible looking clothing. But I will say to close up the Ryder Cup, because of the setting in New York City, and because of the tension that this event has, in the last few years, has, gotten to be more of a fiercely competitive, there is the potential for some absolutely abusive fan behavior. I mean, abusive fan behavior in New York. It could get bad. I am guessing that at some point we're going to hear from the Europeans, especially about how bad some of the behavior was at the Ryder Cup in New York, because we've all seen New York fans in other areas. The Philly fans will probably make their way over there. It's only a couple hours. You're going to get the most savage of the fans of America sports are in that area of the country. So you could have, even though the prices are obscene to get in, you could have potentially, especially if this thing gets tight, some really abusive fan behavior possibly.
I really hope the price tag keeps the Philly fans out. Otherwise, there won't be a structure or a lamppost standing after this thing goes down.
Do you guys have an official prediction?
Yes. I'm going to give the nod to the Americans to win because of the home field advantage. I think tight. I'm going to say, how many total points are there again? 27.
Trying to think here.
I think you need 14. You need. I think the European team needs 14, and we need 14.5. Correct? Because if you hold the cup, you retain it with 14, I believe. So I'm going to say we are going to squeak out a 15.5 to, what would that be? 13, 12? What is that? Is it 28
15
total
and
points?
13 make 28, so it'd be 12 and a half.
But is it 28 total? Is that what it is? So
Yeah.
we're going to, actually, let's go. I'm going to go 14.5, 13.5.
Oh,
we're going to
so
win by
as
one.
tight as it could. Tight as it could be.
We're due for one of those. There was a stretch in the 80s and early 90s where it was like every Ryder Cup was a point or a point and a half for like a 4 Ryder Cup stretch. And we have had blowouts that's what's going to be awesome. This setting, this golf course, if this thing is tight on Sunday, is going to be sick. We haven't had one of those for a long time.
Tim,
I'm going
what's your
16.5, 11.5, and I won't know what to do with my Sunday afternoon. It's going to be over, and U.S. is going to have that cup in our arms.
Who do the Packers play? Maybe Jordan Love will be throwing interceptions in crunch time like he did this week. At the end of that time, you can flip it over.
I also think it's going to be close. I mean, nobody really wins on away venues. It's kind of how Ryder Cups have been, unfortunately. But at least I'm just hoping it's close. Just give me one way or the other close. It's fun thrashing them like we did at Whistling Straits. I mean, that's kind of fun too. But like at some point, the entertainment's in the how close it is. So just give me a close one either way.
2012 was the last time, I think, an away team. Medina, I think, was the last time an away team won. The Europeans won at Medina. We have not won in Europe since like 1990. Like, it's been like 30 years.
Well, you want to wrap us up from the Open de France?
Yeah. Michael Kim, Twitter or X sensation. Michael Kim with a couple birds on 16 and 17. And then, I mean, that's not the biggest story. The biggest story was because Koepka was leading. Going into the final round, he was leading halfway through. He was leading on like hole 12 when he got up and down from an insane up and down kind of. He was leading most of the way and then just kind of fell apart, and Michael Kim passed him.
The once, like, stare you down kind of guy that everybody shrivels.
That's gone.
Doesn't have it.
The aura is gone. I know he won the PGA at Oak Hill, but like, when he was bad on Sunday at the Masters, when he couldn't get off the tee box, I think that whole aura of him being this, impossible to beat guy in a really tough situation, it might be kind of gone for him. I don't know. But it was nice to see him back in contention. It's always good to see the big names. This is a future Hall of Famer. He's won 5 majors, playing, and he's not that old. Like, it's not like he's 45 years old.
No, he's my age.
30s?
He's 35.
Yeah, like. So hopefully, and I think he wants back on the PGA Tour. Of all the guys, he wants back on. But, yeah, he just didn't. He kind of fell apart. I don't know. Got one of the most fortuitous. He got relief on a hole because they were playing like lift, clean, and place in the rough or in the fairway only. But he got relief. He had a bad shot from like a golf cart tread or something. I don't know. Like, the lie wasn't awful, but he got relief from like a golf cart leaving a rut or something. I don't know what it was. It was wild relief he got.
Sounds like a mic roll. I think you'll find one.
He did get it though. He got it, but the normal lie didn't seem bad. But yeah, I mean, Michael Kim. Who else was in there?
Minwoo Lee.
Minwoo Lee was up there. Yeah, there was the Co guy, the Co kid made it.
He was the home crowd guy.
Yeah, the French kid. Like they had it was kind of a cool tournament for a golf course that looked really boring. It looked like the French version of Sahali, but just not as nice. Like, it was tight. You had trees everywhere, kind of. It just didn't look great. But yeah, so I don't know. Brooksy got beat.
Yeah, well, we'll have a lot of golf to talk next week with the Ryder Cup, and yeah, it's something it only happens 2 times a year, guys. So we got to really embrace this weekend, and hopefully America comes on and talk. Hopefully
there's once every 2 years.
That's what I meant. Once every 2 years, not 2 times a year. Once every 2 years, and we gotta get something like we had Hatgate to talk about last time, and we had at least something. Give us something that's going on.
Ryder Cup in New York. There's gonna be.
I know that's. I can't wait to see what it is.
If this is a boring Ryder Cup, this could wreck the Ryder Cup forever for everybody. Everybody is. There's never been. I would say. This has to be the most anticipated Ryder Cup ever. The only other one I could think of, I wasn't alive, was maybe when the Great Britain and Ireland team went to the Europe. They switched it over to all of Europe with Seve and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But this is easily the most anticipated Ryder Cup. I mean, they've been talking about this one for a decade. They've been talking about it forever. So hopefully it works out to live up to the hype.
It has to, like you said, its hype is too much to not come through in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's close or whether there's some drama involved, it's gonna deliver. You gotta believe. So that's all I got for this week. Anybody else before we sign off?
No, I mean, we got a bunch of articles on Forbes probably coming out, Ryder Cup stuff. Thursday we'll probably drop your Ireland pod, I suppose. From
Yep. Sat down, talked Ireland, and that'll be a good one too. So.
Some more stuff coming out. I don't know. Just watch social media. I'm sure we'll have plenty of reactions possibly. Maybe we'll do some live reactions on social media. I might put some stuff out there. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, thanks, listeners, for following along. Hopefully my mic works this time.
Yeah.
I think it does. We've had a couple. I have to apologize. I should have probably done the front end of this podcast, but I got some new technology, computer and a connection, so we should be good to go. And if not, I don't know. Maybe I should get fired. So that being said, everybody, we'll see you soon. Enjoy the Ryder Cup. As you guys know, the difference between 79 and 80 is everything.